You're frightening me.
But
You're frightening me. It's your fault.
I don't know, man.
You don't love me.
I'm getting a weird vibe right now.
Welcome to Bible Walkthrough. I'm Adam Ayers.
This is Wes Warner.
And today we're going to deal with 1 John 4:18. Perfect love casts out fear. What does that mean anyway?
I think the contributor is focusing on verse 18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment.
Yeah, this is a verse that's frequently quoted within the Christian community.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. And literally it's love casts out fear. Typically, the way I've heard it used, and I think this is probably the contributor's point, is that if there's a situation of love between people, if there's enough love there, there won't be any fear there. Now, this is problematic from a number of angles. First, just in practice, that makes people seek to be loved enough to where they no longer have any fear. Like, if you love me enough, I won't be afraid. And if I'm afraid, you really need to love me more until I'm no longer afraid. And this verse is quoted frequently. And I've heard it misused a lot in counseling situations where people will say, well, if there's fear there, there's not love really present in your relationship.
And it's that other person's fault.
Typically speaking,
they'll blame it on the
it's
person.
the other person's fault. That somehow they haven't loved enough to drive out this fear. But that just is an excision. It just cuts this one verse out from the rest of the saying that's going on here. Theologically, there's a problem because we're commanded all throughout Scripture to fear the Lord and to be perfected in the fear of the Lord, and that it's the starting place of wisdom and a number of other kinds of instructions. We're supposed to fear God. So we can't really say that wherever there's love, from a lover to one, that the person loving to us, that there will be no fear, because we're supposed to fear the Lord as he loves us perfectly. And I think the real key to this is the bottom half of this saying that is very rarely quoted along with it, which is the last part of verse 18, the one who fears punishment has not been perfected in love. Because the explanation of there's no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment, continues on to say that the one who is fearing is the one who's not perfected in love. And that's telos. It's mature. Is not perfected, is not come to maturity in love. So what it says there is that if I'm fearing you, I'm the one who needs to love more. I'm the one who's not made perfect in love. So I need to step up my love until I love you so much that I cast away fear of you. Because perfect love casts away, or mature love casts away fear. If I really love you, I will cast away my fear and move toward you. Rather than say, perfect love casts away fear, you need to love me enough to where I cast my fear away. No, I need to love you enough to cast my fear away. Because it says, if I'm fearing, I'm not made perfect in love. So it very clearly shows where the responsibility about the fear resides, and that's with the person who's fearing. Because they're supposed to love enough to throw away their fear. Ekbale.
Okay, so you're saying that if somebody is feeling afraid of somebody else, then it's their fault.
That they need to step up their love enough.
They need to love the other person more, and then they will overcome that fear. And that's what that's what it's saying there. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says there's no fear in love.
That's a trip.
But perfect love casts out fear, throws out fear. Because fear has to do with punishment. If you're busy thinking about how you're going to experience pain, you're consumed on yourself. You're not looking at the other person in love.
Wow. Yeah.
You're all consumed about your own punishment. The one who fears punishment hasn't been perfected in love.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's talking about how we approach God.
Yeah.
We approach God in an inappropriate phobic fear, it's because we haven't learned to love like he loved us. As it says in verse 19, we love because he first loved us. And then it goes on again to criticize someone who says, I love God, and yet hates a fellow Christian.
Yeah.
So he's talking about the responsibility of the Christian to love enough to overcome many obstacles, one of them including his own fear.
Wow. That's a trip, man. That's cool. I like that. It kind of makes me feel like I need to love people more, and if I feel afraid, just love them more.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
It's cool.
Wouldn't that be good advice to a Christian facing persecution by Romans?
Yeah.
Who's called upon to love their enemies?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to arrest you and feed you to the lions.
Yeah.
That makes me afraid, but my duty as a Christian is to step up my love to where I can cast out that fear and love that Roman soldier anyway.
That's cool.
And that is more consistent with the Christian mandate across the board.
That's cool. That's cool.
And we do this because he loved us that way.
Yeah.
Jesus cast out all fear and just loved.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I have like a little different view.
Go for it.
When I see the scripture, it says, we've come to know and to believe the love that God has in us. Verse 16, God is love, and the one who resides in love resides in God, and God resides in him. I see like the focus of love in this section, this pericope, is all about our love for God and our love in God and our love, like, or just God. Like, we're with God. We're like one with God, like the Zen-like state of love in God kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it says in verse 17, this love is perfected with us so that we can have confidence in the day of judgment. So I hear it saying, in contrast, this love is in contrast to the day of judgment. And skipping ahead, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. So if we have this like oneness love with God, we're not going to be afraid of being punished one day in the day of judgment kind of thing. Like that fear of death, that fear of punishment is wiped out through this like unity and this oneness with God.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
But and pardon me for being nitpicky here, but where you fast forward is it says, because just as Jesus is, so also are we in this world.
Yeah.
So that sets this focus of we are to be behaving like Jesus. As Jesus is, so are we in this world. And Jesus is one who threw away his own fear in order to love. And we can have confidence on the day of judgment because we are caught up in that love. We love because he first loved us. And when we love that way like Jesus loved, throwing away our fear, we can have confidence on the day of judgment.
Yeah. And I hear that too. I just skipped ahead because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just going to repeat the point. But just as Jesus is like one with God, so are we in this world. We can be one with God and one in his love is the way I see it. So
absolutely.
There's no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. So when we're in that perfect love, we don't have any, like, did Jesus have to be scared of dying and seeing God? Did he have to be scared of being judged and told he didn't do a good enough job and you need to, go to hell, basically? He didn't have any fear like that at all. And we don't need to have any kind of fear like that.
Mm-hmm.
The one who fears punishment has not been perfected in love.
Yes. We
love because he loved us first. So, like, we get in this place of love with God because he is initiating it in us.
But see, that's, again, it comes back to, if you are fearing that bad dog mentality from God, you haven't been perfected in God's love. You need to get perfected in God's love because you're fearing that. You don't understand God, and you're not perfected in love, so you need to step it up. And additionally, you're not going to hate your brother if you have that perfect love coming from God.
Right, and that's his next point in line 20. If anyone says, I love God and hates his fellow Christian, he's a liar. So there it is, applying it to human relationships.
Yeah, if I'm hating you and fearing you, and I'm claiming to love God, no, because this love hasn't been perfected enough to where I can throw away my fear and love you.
Okay.
Instead, I react and hate you.
I really like your point.
Like the Roman soldier. I hate the Roman soldier. That's because you're afraid. Okay? Get perfected in love and throw away your fear.
That's a good point right there. Get perfected in love. Throw away your fear. You don't have to be scared of the people that you meet. You can just love them more.
Yeah, no matter how antagonistic.
Yeah. That's a good point, Adam. I really like it.
I like yours too. It's cool. Love you. Not afraid of you. Love you.
I'm not afraid of you either.
Great. Well, we'll see you next text and next time on Bible Walkthrough. We hope this has helped you understand love and fear. Until next time, I'm Adam Ayers.
Wes Warner.
On Bible Walkthrough.